I'm Lex.
And I'm Tay.
And this is our take on college. All right, everybody, welcome back. First off, I'm going to apologize because I'm really tired today. So if I'm a little slow to the game, I'm just not feeling well. I haven't felt well. You could probably tell in my voice a little bit too. I'm really just not feeling super great right now. I haven't been feeling well. I had a little bit of a moment before we got to the studio. I just had to rip off all of my really long natural nails, by the way. They were very, very, very outgrown, and I was going to go get them done this weekend for Taylor's birthday. And so it's been a day, that is for sure. But we're really excited. This episode's kind of funny. It's just a little add-on to kind of some of the things that we've already talked about. So we're just gonna have fun with this one, and then we're gonna continue on. And we apologize for no episode this past week on Monday/Tuesday. I left my wallet at home, and my mom had to come and meet me. And again, I haven't been feeling well, so that was on me. That was not Taylor by any means. But we appreciate your patience. We love you all very much, and we are excited for today's episode. So I'm gonna hand it over to Tay.
Yeah, so since we decided to push back our guest, I had seen a video on TikTok, actually, of these two girls who were roommates, and they did a little quiz just to see, how well do we really know each other? We did live together for 9 months, roughly.
Yeah, I would say, I think it was, okay, so we started living together in August. So August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, 10 months.
10 months.
Roughly 10 months, yeah.
Yeah, so, in 10 months, living in that dorm, close proximity, and sharing a TV remote, we kind of had to find out, a lot about each other. And I just saw these two girls on this TikTok, and they were still friends after living together. They didn't live together anymore either, but they just sat down and made this TikTok, and it was a fun little thing to just kind of they were reminiscing too as they were doing it. For one of the questions, they were like, oh, yeah, I remember watching that movie. I switched up the questions a little bit, but they were like, oh, yeah, I remember that was your favorite movie because this is when we watched it. Little things like that. So I don't know. I just thought since we don't have a guest today and we had to push that back, that we do a little game for it. So.
Well, why don't you start us off, Tay, and you can, ask me, how about this? How about, I'll guess first, if that makes sense. I will guess your answers first, and then you will guess mine. So let's do it that way.
Okay, so first question. Who is my celebrity crush?
Okay, so I was literally just thinking about this and reading it. I feel like it changes on a kind of a consistent basis, but I'm we would say a bunch of different things. And I honestly, if I'm literally being so honest right now, I don't think I remember a specific time that you were ever this person is my absolute ride or die celebrity crush. This is gonna take a second. Why don't we come back to that one, because I've got a couple in mind and I want to pick the right one. So just we'll go to the next one.
Yeah. We'll skip, but I'll give you a hint if you get this next question right. So I'll give you a hint for the first one if you get the next one right.
Sounds good.
Okay, so the next question is, am I a night owl or an early bird?
110% can say that okay, hold on. Actually, these are also kind of hard, because if we're being honest, Taylor was only a night owl because she'd be staying up for when I'd come back. And then also we're both not like super early morning people, but out of the two, I would say an early bird. Only because when we would say, if we said night owl, I feel like, I don't know. Okay, now I want to change my answer because I'm thinking about it. I feel like, I guess now I would say early bird, but I guess when we were living together last year, night owl. So that's what I'm going to stick with. If we're answering this as of last year, night owl. That's my final answer.
And your answer would be correct. Okay, so here's your hint for the first one. It's the TikToks that I always send you. Oh. And you send me them back and forth.
All right, never mind. I know this already. It is Tyler Cameron from Hannah Brown's season of The Bachelorette. Absolutely 110% can say that with certainty that is the man that you're talking about right now. And he was on my list. I did have, though, like 3 other ones that I was like, I don't know.
What were the 3 other ones?
Okay, so it was him, and then it was Austin Butler from Elvis, because we went through a really big Elvis phase, which I guess but that was one. And then I had, oh my gosh, why am I spacing on his name? Oh no, I can see his face. Oh no. Oh, bro, I don't even. Oh my God. Oh. Okay, we'll skip over that one. And then the only other one that I had was Robert Pattinson. Because I was thinking about Twilight, and I was like, out of all of them, realistically, I was going to say Tyler Cameron. But I was like, I don't know, there's a couple. And then we watched like the Batman that he was in, and that was really good. So Robert was in. So I don't know. But Tyler was definitely going to be that. Because I get probably a Tyler Cameron TikTok or 2 every week, you guys, just so you know. But he's a cutie, so, I mean, I get it.
That was a very valid answer. I would have accepted any one of those answers. So, question number 3. What is one makeup product I cannot live without?
Bronzer. You're like, okay, hold on. That or mascara. Those are the 2 that I think only because you make comments a lot. You're like, my fair skin, or like, I look pale. And I'm like, oh, I don't, like, I think you look great. And then you're like, oh, I need to put like, and you have a couple different ones that we've talked about because I need to get a new cream one. So I would say out of the 2, probably mascara. I feel like that's really the one that you're very much like, yes, mascara. Because you have great skin. So, like, I don't think it's like concealer, foundation, powder, anything like that. It was probably out of the 2, mascara, but bronzer comes into a close second, in my opinion.
That is correct, Shotty. Okay. So, 4th question. What was my favorite class last year?
Okay. So, Taylor and I both had, which we've mentioned in a previous episode, there were times in the year where we just straight up didn't want to go to class because we were both just not having it, you know? But out of all of your classes, the one that I remember you talking about the most that you enjoyed was your class that met every Monday night. And it was only Monday nights because it was a long class, and it was about, Taylor will explain here in a second, but I remember it was because like, you would be learning about like serial killers and stuff, which we both love, you know, true crime and stuff. And so then, you know, you'd be watching something, and then your professor's like, all right, guys, have a fun walk home at 9 p.m. at night while it's pitch black outside. And everyone's like, are you actually kidding me right now, dude? So I remember that one because you would always be like, oh, I love this class. I love the professor. And this stuff is really interesting. But also you were like, yeah, I'm kind of creeped out that I have to walk home that late. But that's my answer.
That answer is also correct. Yes, that was my favorite class, and I am currently taking the other class that professor offers just because I liked that class structure so much. Okay, so this can be a tricky question because it's going to be like the night owl one again. It's not I would say not my current, but the one at least when we lived together. So what was at that time my favorite Taylor Swift album?
Okay, so I have to think about this because part of me thinks one, and then the other part of me thinks another one. So, oh man. Okay. there was definitely a part where we were like Reputation, and that was just because we were in that era of life. And then for my final answer, I'm between no, I'm just gonna Folklore. Yeah, I was right. Let's go.
Yes, I was definitely in my Folklore era of Taylor at that moment. Specifically, August or My Tears Ricochet. Wasn't going through a breakup though, technically, but it was definitely heartbreak central at that point. No, but currently I would say I'm 1989, just because I'm getting hype for the new release, But at that time, 100% Folklore. I was also playing Folklore in the car on the way here, so if that wasn't a hint, I don't know what was. Okay, last question. So me and Lexi, actually, one of our not favorite things to do, but we had a pyramid that we would make after every IU basketball game with the players on it, and we'd rank them after that game, who was our favorite. We would take into account who played the best, things like that. But who was my all-time favorite basketball player last year?
Okay, this one's going to be hard, you guys, because I have two that I'm thinking of, and I feel like a lot of people will be like, oh. I'm between Jalen Hood-Schifino and Anthony Leal. And I want to say Schifino because you have his jersey, but he's, obviously he's not on the team anymore. But I don't know. I feel like this is going to be the one that I get wrong. Oh, shoot. Okay. Crap nuggets. I think I'm going to say Jalen Hood-Schifino, and if I'm wrong, that's okay because my second choice is Anthony Leal, and if I'm wrong, I'm fine with that. That's okay.
I will accept both answers.
Let's go.
Okay, your turn. I'm ready. I'm so hyped for this. You guys have no idea.
Taylor literally was talking. She texted me before we left. I had her come pick me up because, okay, really quick, this is just funny. I work at the IMU in one of the dining sections. I'm not going to say what just because we're still on campus and you could probably put two and two together from like old episodes, or not even that old, but like recent episodes. But I work at the IMU in one of the dining retail options, and I had to drop my car off today. And so I had Taylor come and pick me up, like my mom, from my sorority house because my car is in the IMU parking lot, and it will be until after 8 p.m. so that I don't have to pay for a parking stub because that would be a fat one. But she literally texted me. I'm like, hey, like, would you be able to come pick me up from, my house? And she's like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, thanks. And then she texted me. She's like, can we do this? I'm like, oh, sure. And then we get in the car and she's like, so do you want to like do this? I was like, yeah. And then we get here and she's like, yeah, my mom told me about this and I really want to do it. And I'm like, okay, like we're going to do it. So, all right, Taylor, who is my celebrity crush?
Okay. So there's a very simple answer to this. Lexi has said it multiple times. This is also one of our, I would say not daily, but like at least every other day I'm getting a TikTok about this person. So I'm going to go with, Lexi's shaking in her boots right now, but I'm going to go with the leading man of Pinky Blinders, Cillian Murphy.
Taylor is so right. Oh my gosh. Guys, I love him. Yeah, I knew Taylor was gonna get this, like right off the bat. I first of all, I didn't even know what Peaky Blinders was until literally like the summer. I think I got like a really good like TikTok edit with Travis Scott's SDP interlude as like the background music. So I was like, yeah, this is so good. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to watch this show. Like it looks really good. The edit was fire. And then I got so invested in it. I haven't finished it yet. And I absolutely freaking love it. And honestly, I would have accepted too. Oh, Fitz's. I can't think of his name. Fitzgerald from
Grant.
Fitzgerald Grant from Scandal. So both of those answers, if you guys can't tell, I like older men. Even though my boyfriend's younger than me, I love him very much. But like fictional men, yeah, the older the better, I guess. But anyways, yes, I would have. That's 110% true right now. Last year would have been Fitzgerald Grant, which I don't know why I'm spacing on his name. Tony Goldwyn or something. Yeah. That's his name. Yeah. But also, like, I definitely probably, if you would have shown me a picture of Cillian Murphy last year, I would have been head over heels. So you know what? I'm accepting the answer. That's totally fine.
Okay. Question 2 is the night owl early bird question.
I don't even know why I just like flipped that over to you. I should have asked. I'm so stupid. Okay, Taylor, am I a night owl or an early bird?
Okay, I'm going to have to piggyback off of your answer from earlier because last year we were definitely night owls. But I think now, especially since you have to work, you're very much early bird. So I'm going to go with night owl from at least when we lived together.
Yeah, that's for true. That's for sure. I mean, I think there are nights where I definitely stay up because I'm like busy, but that's not really by choice. Or like, you know, if I've had like a really long day and I just like want a second, of course I like want to go to bed, but I have to let my brain wind down. So like, I definitely am more of an early bird. Like it's been hard getting up to go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. Like I work at 7, not get up at 7. So if that is any indication, it's a pain in the butt. But definitely now I think that I'm a lot more productive in the morning and I'm up moving better in the morning than I was last year. Like I would literally sleep in until like 11, if not 12 o'clock every day. So yes, night owl last year 110% because Taylor and I would stay up till 3 in the morning watching a TV show or like whatever the heck we were doing, and then we'd be like, oh yeah, I guess it's time to go to bed because we have to get up for class in the morning. But yes, I would take that answer. All right, number 3. What is one makeup product that I cannot live without? And I can totally be exposed right now. I have 2 in mind, so if Taylor gets either one of them, it's fine. But I know one that would expose my butt right now.
Okay, so Lexi is a skincare junkie.
Facts.
So I'm going to have to go with... This is very difficult because I don't want to say the wrong, like, I don't know, acid thing or like whatever, but it's definitely a skincare product. So I'm going to go with probably her... It's got to be Beekman. Okay, final answer. The Beekman spray that you use.
Taylor knows me so well. So if you guys don't know, I used to work at Ulta, which I don't think I've ever spoken on about on the podcast. But when I was in high school, I worked at Ulta for almost a year basically. And while I was there, I discovered a brand, and Beekman 1802. If you know what that is, it is an amazing brand. I love it very, very much. They are super amazing people. Everything the company stands for, it's manufactured, and everything here in the United States, it's based off of the company motto is about kindness, and then they just support some of the most amazing things and have just one of the best companies ever. And I am an ambassador for them as well as a couple other skincare brands, but they sent me what they call their milkshake biphase toner when I first started working as an ambassador for them, and I have had 4 separate bottles since then, and I do not go a day without wearing it. It keeps my face hydrated. And quick little free promo shout out, if you have dry skin, actually if you have any skin type, it works for anybody. It's really good for sensitive skin especially, but if you're in the need of, or you're in the search for something that's going to help hydrate your face, or, just keep you feeling glowy and really just feel like you took a good glass of water. You should be drinking water anyways, but if you want your skin to look like that, get the Biphase Milkshake Toner from Beekman. It's amazing. Taylor hit it on the nose. Love it. Okay, what was my favorite class last year? I have two that I will accept, but I'm pretty sure you know which one because I literally never shut up talking about it, even to this day. So, yeah.
Okay, so I have two answers. So I'm going to say, first answer, your overall favorite class was your IFS class with that professor. You loved him. We saw him. I forget where we saw him out, but you were literally like, I love that man so much. Or I'm going to go with, I'm going to have to go with your media class.
I would take, okay, so definitely the IFS class. My media class was fun. I liked it, but out of like the normal school year, it was my xoxo class.
Oh.
And and you know, and it's okay. Taylor knows that. I think it's just because I'm a media major now, definitely. But no, IFS for sure. IFS was intensive freshman seminar, which we'll talk about more in the next episode because that's like, you know, we'll get into that later. But IFS for sure. It was a very small class. It was very, very, I mean, I think it was absolutely crucial to my success now, like that I have while, you know, being a college student. Like, had I not taken that class, I don't think I would have had the writing skills that I have or just like the understanding of how college works anyways. We would meet for like 8 hours a day, and that class taught me so much. So yes, you were right on that one for sure. All right. I don't know. Actually, I feel like you would know this. It's kind of changed now, but like freshman year, what was my favorite Taylor Swift album?
Okay. So together, I know we listened to a lot of Reputation. And I think I'm going to have to go Reputation because of songs like, I think it was, what was the one? Because of, I think Delicate. I think that's the one song I vividly like remember playing on our TV that was your TV, but the TV that we had, like I remember that being on the TV on the Spotify. So I'm going to go with Reputation.
You would be correct. Reputation, for a while now, or like was like, I mean, I still probably would say that it is my favorite Taylor Swift album. I did go see Reputation freshman year of high school with a friend of the past. And it was, I mean, all of the songs on that album are an absolute banger. So absolutely. And probably to this day, definitely my favorite album of hers. Like I love Delicate, Dress, Gorgeous, literally any song on that album. But I would say that recently Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince has become a staple in any of my playlists. So I wouldn't say lover overall. I love all of her eras. I definitely was into her when she was in her debut era for sure. So when she started and throughout her little country phase. But I've loved all of her work, but Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince is probably my top song by her besides Cruel Summer. I will say that, which I'm pretty sure that's also Lover. So a little bit of a lover girl, you could say. All right. Finally, this one actually, I've got a couple, but like I would totally love to see if Taylor, like I kind of like had a jokey one like in my mind, which I don't know if she'll guess this one, but who was my favorite IU basketball player last season? And in my mind, they are the most crucial part of the team. So that's a really good hint of who it would be, just because I would talk about this person. But yeah, Taylor, so what are you thinking?
Oh my gosh. I feel like for you, this is a trick question because we always used to say Mike Woodson. That was our favorite. We would always say Mike Woodson. But also, I feel like we always sent a lot of TikToks back and forth about Miller Kopp and Trey Galloway. So I don't know. I feel like you're trying to get me with this one. Like I feel like it's a joke. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go with the trick question in that it's Mike Woodson, but I know our current favorite player right now is Malik Renew. So that's all I know.
Yes. So, Woody, good old Mike Woodson. That is the answer. I enjoyed watching Miller play for sure, and I also, as every girl does, think Trey Galloway is kind of a cutie. Yeah, that's all I gotta say on that. But no, love Mike Woodson. He's just a funny guy. He's just so memeable, but in a good way. I mean that totally sincerely, in a good-hearted way. He's just a cute, funny guy. He's just hilarious. He's stone cold, and then he's just yeah, and I'm okay. But yeah, definitely Malik Renew, because Taylor and I got to, I don't think we've talked about this since it happened. I'm in IUDM, which I know I've talked about on the podcast, which is IU Dance Marathon. And through that, we get to do a lot of really cool experiences. Actually, fun fact, tomorrow is Day of Hope, which means marathon is right around the corner, which is crazy. But through IU Dance Marathon, I was able to get access to pregame status on the field, and which was I think they called it on-field recognition or whatever. IUDM, along with a lot of our Riley buddies who came to Bloomington to visit, got to go onto the field, hold the state flag while they played back home in Indiana, as well as watch pregame warm-ups on the sideline where the Rock and the Cannon are. Well, I guess it's not sideline, it's behind. I don't know what side of the stadium that is, but whatever, behind one of the field goals where the Rock and the Cannon is, like I said. So we were over there, and as we were leaving after we held and shook the flag, one of the Riley buddies saw the basketball team. There was a huge group of guys from our, basketball team here, and he went up because he wanted to give him a high five. And there's a picture of it on the IUDM, and I'm pretty sure Riley page on Instagram. You see Malik Renew leaning over the side, trying to give this little kid a hug and high five, and it is the most heartwarming thing I have ever seen in my life. I literally almost cried walking out of the stadium. I was that is so cute. I don't even know. I thought it was so cute, but yeah, I'm gonna let Tay talk.
No, and it was so cute because he was as equally excited to give that kid a high five as the kid was running up to him. And it was just it was the cutest thing ever. And they were all so nice, and they gave him fist bumps, and it was so cute. But his reaction was just it was, I don't know. Why do I want to cry right now talking about it? I don't know. But yeah, no, it was just adorable. So right now he's number one on the pyramid for us.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that is kind of the questions for the pod game. It's really fun for our friendship. Obviously, it was really cool that we did very well on that. I'm proud of us for sure. But we're kind of going to talk about dorm life. And obviously that, this kind of goes with that, I think, with what we just talked about, and obviously knowing each other because we live together. But we've kind of already talked about dorm life a little bit, so I feel like we're going to kind of just touch on things again. But there's some funny things on here. So we're going to kind of start off with a couple of dorm stories I feel like is appropriate for sure. The first one to me that's kind of a really big one for us, I feel like, is the fact that, one, we became really good friends with RRA, and we are still good friends with her now. Shout out, Charlie. We love you very, very, very much, and we are sending big hugs and love your way. And so, yeah, we would hang out with her. We would text her. Taylor ended up joining, like I said, a couple episodes ago, the same pre-law fraternity as Charlie. But one of my favorite games to play was text or call Charlie in the middle of the night because of, certain situations that were going on our floor. And so, bless her heart, she did everything that she could for us. But I just think that that's one of the funny things about living on our floor was I don't think that I ever would have thought that we'd be friends with RRA, and we are. And it's just really, really, really funny to this day that even after I blew up her phone, probably over very minute things, I will say there were certain situations where I felt that she needed to be contacted, but for the most part, she just entertained me and, never made me feel bad about the fact that, maybe I just needed someone to talk to besides Taylor when Taylor wasn't there, But yeah, that's kind of our first little thing. I think a perk about dorm life is just being close with the RA, to the fact that she left us in charge a couple of times. in, you know, the sense of like, she's like, I need to step out and go to the main desk. So if anything happens, you guys are the ones that I want to contact me. And we're like, yeah, of course. So that's the first one. I'm also going to touch a little bit on another one. This is funny. Taylor's got a couple of things that she'll talk about. But our other thing is that I don't even remember the day that it happened. I have a photo and I will insert it in the YouTube video. But there was 2 girls who lived on our floor, which we're still chill with. We just aren't close. One ended up transferring back home, and then the other one still goes here but lives with some friends in an apartment, I believe. But we were all like, we had a small group of girls. It was those 2, Emma that we've talked about, and then us. And so I am not sure where this idea originated. I think that they were talking about it and like joking around. But one day, I get a text asking if I could take my car because I had my car last year with the campus housing parking pass. So I got to park right next to the dorm. And they were like, hey, would you be able to take us to Kroger off of, oh my gosh, I can't think of it's a Kroger. I was thinking that I knew where it was, but that's not important. Anyways, it was one of the Bloomington Krogers, and I took them over there to pick up a dog. They were deciding that they were going to foster a dog in the dorm, which actually is viable. That's the word I was looking for. Viable at IU. However, you have to fill out, you know, specific applications and you have to fill out specific paperwork. The school is actually very lenient, you know, because our dorm was one of the dorms that was, you know, pet accessible or like allowed pets. But they did not fill out the proper paperwork. So we were not able to end up keeping the dog. But I dropped $100 at PetSmart on that dog. I did get paid back, but it took a couple of weeks for that to happen. But we like bought it collars, we bought it rain boots because this dog was like a house dog. It was not used to being able to run outside. And I forgot to mention there were a couple guys on the floor that did help out with the dog. And we kind of thought that it'd be something that was fun for everybody. But unfortunately, the dog's like, he just didn't have, I think his name was Indigo, or Indy. And the dog was super cute, such a love bug, but, you know, it just was a big dog and it just didn't have the space in the dorm. And like we could take it out to run it around in the, like one of the common areas out in the courtyard. But, like there was also the chance the dog would run away. And the other stipulation that I forgot to mention was that the original owners literally were like, we are moving into an apartment that will not allow pets. We are looking for someone in Bloomington that will basically foster our dog. We will pay for the vet visits. We will pay for like anything else, which again, like I said, I did get compensated for the other stuff. But they wanted to be able to come and visit their dog, which to me in the spectrum or like, you know, whatever, in like hindsight, I don't know why you would have ever given your dog to foster by like college kids who like freshmen who live in the dorm. Like if it was a college kid that had an apartment, I guess that would make sense because they have an apartment, pet friendly, whatever it may be. But like I, to this day, am so confused on how it was like, they were like, yeah, we're going to give it to these girls that live in a dorm. Like that doesn't make any sense to me, but maybe they were the only people that bit like at, you know, wanting the dog. So anyways, Indy kind of lived in there for a little bit and, you know, like our RA knew about it. Like it wasn't a hidden thing. And, I think everybody was under the impression that they were going to get the dog certified. So it was not a big deal. Like no one was mad. I think the people on the floor like thought it was cute. And like there were other people we knew and were kind of friends with that came over to visit the dog and stuff. But it kind of became, unfortunately, a little bit of a hassle because, you know, as college kids, we're kind of busy. And the girls that decided to foster the dog were not always available to watch him. So it became kind of a burden on everyone on the floor at some point where it was like, hey, would you be able to take Indy out to go to the bathroom or run around? It's like, well, I'm in class or I've got this going on. I'm going home. Like, you know, so it was just one of those things that became really hard. But maintenance actually ended up finding out about the dog and basically was like, hey, we don't want to turn you in. So you have a couple of days to get the paperwork filled out or we will have to take you to the university and they will remove the dog. So what ended up happening was they gave the dog back and then the owners were like, no, this isn't what happened because they ended up giving the dog back. But originally what had happened was one of the girls, her boyfriend at the time, I'm not sure if they're still together, ended up taking the dog in all the way up in Fishers. So we are in Bloomington. Fishers is like about an hour and maybe a half hour and 15 minutes from here. So he ended up coming down because he was still in high school last year. So him and his parents came down to Bloomington to pick the dog up, took the dog home, and gave it a great life. Like Indy was living his best life back up there in Fishers. And then those people ended up wanting the dog back because they were like, hey, like, our agreement was that we would get to come see the dog. But after, it had been a couple of months at this point, like it was probably like 3 or so months. And then they finally were like, oh, hey, like we want to come visit Indy. They're, the girls were like, oh, Indy's like in Fishers right now. Indy isn't here. And so literally they were like, oh, okay, we're going to go pick the dog up. So they drove up to Fishers and picked Indy up. And then like the girls didn't hear anything from them. And the one girl who's like boyfriend, like who took the dog, also didn't hear anything because they exchanged information as well. And then I remember the one girl who was like, who had her boyfriend like keep the dog, literally said that those people reached back out to give the dog away fully because they just like didn't want it anymore, which was so sad because, Indy should have just stayed with the family in Fishers in the first place and should have never been given back because they were like, oh, we're sorry, like we can't take Indy anymore. Like we already have another pet. So I'm not really sure what ended up happening with the dog, but it was just crazy that we had a dorm dog. And I, again, will insert the picture. Just one of the funniest stories ever. I still can't believe to this day that even happened. So I'm going to give it over to Taylor so she can kind of talk a little bit about some fun dorm stories.
Okay, so picture this. You're minding your own business. You have your music on. You're taking a shower in the like not community shower, but one of the bathrooms. And someone bangs on the door and starts screaming someone's name, and it's not your name. I mean, what else would you do? I personally jumped out of the shower, put my robe back on, ran to our room, still had soap in my hair because I was terrified. So I get back in the room. Lexi walks in, and she's like, what's going on? And I was like, I don't know. Someone banged on the door.
Let me also mention that I was also in the shower. Like we were literally both showering I think Taylor had gotten in the shower and I didn't even realize that she was here taking a shower. I had also gone to the bathroom to take a shower and I heard like noise. Like I was like confused because I thought someone was like also banging on the shower door, like the RA, but I was like, it's really early for like bathroom checks because it was like kind of the middle of the day. So I was like, what is going on? So we were both in the shower, not clothed, confused, and we're like, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah, so I run back to the room. Lexi's just walks in. She's like, what's going on? And I was like, someone was banging on the shower door, like screaming one specific person's name who lived on our floor. So we're standing by the door. We're freaking out a little bit because we're like, there's boys and stuff on our floor and they've had little like, not full-on fights, but they've had little toughs before. They've not gotten along before, but it never got to the point where they were really messing with any of us, right? Like they pretty much kept it like contained to themselves. So we have our door like kind of cracked and we just hear all of this like scuffling and this fighting. And then we poke our heads out and like down the hallway a little bit. There's a full-on physical fight happening right down the hallway. This kid had not necessarily busted down the door, but he was able to get into this kid's room. He did not live there. We'd never seen that kid in our life. He busted this kid's door down and they were fighting. Lexi had gotten some audio of it at one point and we're texting Charlie. I'm calling Charlie. We're freaking out because like we don't know what this fight's about. Like, we don't know what's happening. We have no idea who these people are. And they're just, like, fighting. And we were so scared because we're like, this is a random person. He does not live here. How did he get in here? And we're instantly like, this is, like, a full-on security risk. Like, we have no idea what's happening. So we end up finally, like, getting a hold of Charlie. And this kid just ends up leaving. Like the whole fight, like full on fight happened. Kid ends up leaving, right? So then the other kid whose room got basically like not broken into, but like his door basically got beat down. He comes out just nonchalant walks down the hallway like nothing happened. So by this time, because this had gone on for like a solid like half hour once he finally got the door like open. So then by this time, the main RA people from the front desk are talking to us. The cops are on their way. All this crazy stuff is happening. And then by the time all of these people like get here to talk to us, because we were like, this is his situation. Like, we have no idea who this person is. By the time the people actually get to like not help us necessarily, but get there, everybody's already gone. So we're just kind of like, yeah, like this whole like fight thing just like happened. Like, what do we do about it? And they're like, well, like the cops are here, so. And we're like, okay, do you want us to talk to them? Like, what do you want? And they're like, yeah, maybe they're probably not going to do anything though. And we're like, oh, okay, great. Because like, I mean, we kind of knew what the fight was about. We can kind of assume what the fight was about. Some owing of money for certain things. We're assuming. But yeah, that was a crazy day for us, because all we wanted to do was go and look at like apartments and houses. That's all we wanted to do. And our day gets like completely thrown off because there's literally a full-on fist fight, breaking the door down, whole thing happening.
It was crazy. Like, it was actually like insane. And I don't even know if I still have like the recording anymore. I might, like, I think I had a couple of audio clips because I was too scared to like aim the camera up. And our doors were like, you could hear through the doors. Like, you could make out part of the conversation. But that reminded me of something. We didn't write this down in the show notes, but there was a night that there was a kid on our floor that somehow he wasn't even on our floor, first off. He had made it onto our floor. He had pinged his wallet, and it was in someone's room, and he didn't know the kids who had his wallet. So he literally waited and waited and waited until these kids showed up to get his wallet back. And I remember we were like, oh, do you want us to like call the police or something? Like, or call the RA? And he's like, no, like I've already called your guys' front desk and I've already tried to get in contact with the police, but like I can't, like they won't do anything because it's school property. They were like, you have to like get the RAs to deal with it, and the RAs weren't doing anything. So that one was pretty crazy. We ended up leaving, and by the time we got back, like the kid was already gone, so I'm assuming he had gotten his wallet back. But he would literally, you could hear the tile like beep in their room, which was just crazy to me. That like, you know, he's like, yeah, I'm like pinging it and I can't find it. And he walked by and he heard it go beep, 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 like whatever it was making. And he was like, yeah, my wallet's in there. And I was like, that's crazy. So that's another like just random thing for like the dorm. Like the dorms are so weird. Like the most random things happen. Like we would have, this isn't even like a story time or whatever, but we would have kids like run through our like halls and just like bang on our doors and just scream things. Or like there was a time where I think Ethan was over and we had the door open for something, and like somebody walked by and like made a comment or something, just something really weird and rude, and I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, go away. And I like yelled down the hall and said something that wasn't nice, but I just was like, be quiet. Like, no one wants to hear your stupid opinion on a Tuesday night, and like, you know, like just go away. So I think we've got one more story time from Taylor, and then we're going to kind of just touch a couple of funny things, and then we're going to wrap up the episode for today.
Yeah, so, I mean, we also, don't get us wrong, we also had some fun, very fun experiences in our dorm. One thing that we liked to do was we had like little movie nights or like little YouTube watching video parties. One specifically I remember is we were watching YouTube, and Lexi knows exactly what YouTube video I'm talking about. We were just watching like old Vine compilations. Like it was fun. We were just hanging out with Emma, and then I think a couple other people had stopped in, and we were just watching it, just having a fun time. And Lexi, as she said before, she has a younger sister who loves Peppa Pig, and we stumble on this video that's a Peppa Pig like parody thing. Oh my gosh. It was like the dumbest thing ever. It was like George takes on like Russia or something. I don't even know, but then it ends up becoming like a group chat name. And that little stuff like that is just funny because it's like random memories and stuff like that end up being like little group chat names, or like we're thinking about like a movie night. Cause like I remember we had a movie night, we watched like, I think it was Wolf of Wall Street or something. And we were all like sleeping on our floor and it was just like fun. And we had like popcorn and stuff. And then we'd watch football with, people on our floor too, and that was a little fun group activity that we would always do. So we liked people on our floor. It was, all in all, it was a very fun experience. There was just some crazy stuff that happened with certain people on our floor that we weren't friends with, but our friend group that we made on the floor was pretty fun, and we all had a lot of respect for each other, and we just, yeah, it made it a fun environment because we were able to have little movie nights and just de-stress and things like that.
Yeah. So some fun stories. The dorm was a good time, but also very glad to not be living there anymore. But just a couple of things that we wanted to talk about, just about dorm life is like what to bring and not to bring. I think obviously it kind of depends like whether or not you're supplied, but we loved having mini fridges, a microwave, a TV was just really nice, for sure to have those things. But I think my top couple, I guess we could do this really quick, is like the top like 3 things that you would bring. 110% a first aid / like medicine, just because I personally get sick like all the time. So I wish that I would have had more medicine. I had a great first aid kit, but I needed more like medicinal things to help with like colds and headaches and things like that. I think probably would have helped combat things before they got to the point that I needed to go to the health center all the time. Next thing for sure would be organizers, like for like within your closet or your drawers. My desk and my closet got kind of messy really quickly and was just messy throughout the whole year, because I didn't really have an organizational system, which was just not good for me. But definitely definitely organize yourself really well, have organizers. And then I think my last recommendation is to get a sling over laundry basket. Taylor had that, and I personally liked it better than my like basket. I got it for like $3 at Target, which was great, but it just was not really functional. It wasn't able to compact or like be like it just wasn't a good size. It was very clunky and just didn't. It could have been better. So those are kind of like my top 3 that I think you absolutely need.
Yeah, so my top 3, so kind of piggybacking off of the laundry thing, a collapsible laundry basket. It's essential. You don't have the room to just like have a laundry basket sitting out, and like I know at least how our closets were, I could easily fold it down and put it at the top of my closet. Another non-negotiable was our air purifier. I think that helped us a lot during the winter, especially like with like, cold, flu, just wanting pure air and not feeling all mildewy and moldy and musty. And then another one was we actually hung our not toiletries, but our shower caddies. We hung them on the wall. At least I did, and then Lexi sat hers on the thing that I'm talking about. But we had a little like kind of like a tray, and it would like catch the water from our shower caddies dripping, and it was also a good place to put our winter boots after we walk, or rain boots, whatever you got, because we live in Indiana. Weather's crazy. We have snow one day, sunshine the next, rain one day, and then it's drier than the desert. But like, so that was a really big thing for us because of, where we live and like walking through the snow and things like that. So those were my 3 non-negotiables. But one thing that I would definitely suggest is really go through your clothing and really evaluate what you're actually going to need and what you're actually going to wear, because those closets, yeah, they're pretty big, but like you don't want things that are going to take up so much space that you're never going to wear. So that's my That's my main thing, I guess, was really evaluate your clothes. Be like, will I actually wear this? Like, am I going to wear this to class? No. So don't bring it. Like, just go through all of that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, definitely shower caddies, things like that. Organization was big too. We both had the clear bins. Stand by those clear bins. I still use them in my current apartment, and I think Lexi uses them at the house too. So, yeah, that's really my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, so we're kind of winding down to the end of the episode. There's a couple little fun things that we're going to talk about really quick, just to kind of wrap it up on a little funny note, because I think this episode's just been kind of a mishmash of things, because dorm life was a mishmash, if we're being honest. But who knows, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about this in the future, just the funny and urban legends of IU. Maybe that's what we'll do in an episode. I think that'd be great.
Halloween episode.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, yes, let's do that. Halloween episode, Urban Legends of IU. We will get you guys some good things. But, you know, if you go to school, in the United States, more than likely your school will have a page called something Chicks. That's like supposed to be like Barstool, or like Barstool, Indiana, which is another thing that we'll cover Barstool, Indiana in the Urban Legends episode for sure, because that one, we'll get more information out of that later on. But definitely like we have a Hoosier Chicks and like Barstool, Indiana, but you know, they'd always be posting weird things on there about some sussy stuff that was happening in the dorms and things to avoid. It's just absolutely crazy to me. But we'll get more into that in that Halloween episode. But one thing that we will talk about, which I bet people can confirm or deny, but the right bathtubs. That is something that a lot of people like to talk about, is the fact that Right Living Center, whatever they called it, had bathtubs in certain areas of it. It was, I think, probably the oldest standing dorm on campus, but I never got to see a bathtub, and now they're renovating it. So honestly, I will never get to see a bathtub in Right Quad, but I don't know, dude. I feel like people like kind of play along with it. They're like, yeah, Right has bathtubs, because I never saw a picture. I never once saw photographic evidence of a bathtub being in Right. And I feel like if you look it up on the internet, it's not going to be real. Like, I think it's going to be fake. So unfortunately, because I never saw it with my own eyes, I don't know who to believe, the internet or people or whatever. But that one's definitely interesting. And then I think something else that we'll talk about is Forest. Forest Residence Hall isn't bad. I just feel like it is a haunted daycare center, because the bathrooms on like the floors, like it was really uncomfortably colorful. Like it was vibrant colors. It looked like a nursery like bathroom. Like, oh, it was so bad, and it just gave me the creeps because the lights were dim like all the time, and it literally looked like a sane asylum for like ghost children. Like, it was horrifying. So we'll talk about that for sure. There's probably a haunting story of that somewhere on the internet that we'll talk about urban legend wise in that upcoming episode. But that's kind of been dorm life. I feel like we've kind of touched up on it a couple of different times in the episodes. I think we've got some good advice in the ep, but this one's kind of just been a fun one, a little catch up, because, you know, I've been sick and we've been kind of busy. I wouldn't really call it a throwaway episode. I think we just kind of were having fun with it, and we thank you guys so much for listening. I'll let Tay kind of wrap up too, and then we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, so here's a little teaser for next week's ep. So next week's ep we're recording Monday, we'll drop on Tuesday, is going to be things we knew as freshmen. And we're going to go over just some basic things that everybody should know. And we were debating when we were going to drop this episode, since it's already like September, but you're still learning no matter how long you're here. Heck, there's things on this list that I didn't even know until like I was thinking about it to write my notes for it. So you're always just living and learning about it. So yeah, next week's episode 5 is going to be things we wish we knew as freshmen.
We thank you guys so much for watching and supporting us. And we've got a lot of really fun things planned in the future. We've got some really, really great special guests coming up and a lot of really fun ideas. So again, this has been Lex
And Tay.
and this has been our take on college.